A fifth-generation Shadow returns to the spotlight. Factories accelerate, production lines expand, and suddenly, upgraded Su-57 fighters begin moving toward active war zones. Russia calls it modernization. Analysts call it strategic signaling. Critics question the scale, the readiness, the real battlefield role. New weapons, updated systems, combat claims that remain debated, yet impossible to ignore. Footage surfaces, sleek silhouettes, guarded runways, jets described as more lethal, more capable, more dangerous against modern air defenses. But behind the headlines, deeper questions emerge. Is this true mass deployment or controlled messaging? A technological leap or a calculated show of force in the Russia-Ukraine air war? Today, we break down the production surge, the upgrades, the frontline narrative, and the real strategic meaning behind the Su-57's reported return to the battlefield. Production ramps up, assembly lines tighten, Rostec signals acceleration, more airframes, faster delivery cycles. Expanding fifth-generation output. Official statements highlight modernization, upgraded avionics, refined stealth coatings, weapon interfaces redesigned for newer precision munitions, longer-range engagement concepts. But numbers remain guarded. Exact production totals, rarely confirmed independently. Analysts rely on satellite imagery, factory activity, runway sightings, fragmented open-source clues. The narrative is clear. Mass production is presented not just as manufacturing, but as momentum, a message to allies, to adversaries, to global defense markets watching closely. Industrial signals matter in modern war. They shape expectations. They project resilience, continuity, long-term capability. Meanwhile, the operational question lingers. How many jets truly reach frontline readiness? How many remain in testing, evaluation, incremental upgrade cycles? Because fifth-generation production is never just quantity. It is software evolution, weapons integration, pilot training pipelines, maintenance ecosystems. And as new Su-57 airframes leave the factory floor, another layer unfolds. The upgrades themselves, the systems, the sensors, the weapons now described as more lethal, more adaptable, and more suited to contested airspace. Upgrades intensify, not cosmetic, structural. Software rewritten, sensors recalibrated, weapons integration expanded beyond earlier configurations. Rostec statements emphasize evolution under combat conditions. Lessons learned, systems adjusted, interfaces refined for faster target acquisition, quicker data fusion, shorter reaction windows in contested skies, radar improvements, reportedly enhancing multi-target tracking, electronic warfare suites tuned for dense air defense environments, encrypted data links designed to share battlefield awareness with drones, ground units, and command networks. Then, the weapons layer. Long-range air-to-air missiles, promoted as extended reach beyond visual range. Precision-guided air-to-ground munitions, optimized for standoff strikes, minimizing exposure to enemy defenses. Internal weapon bays, central to stealth preservation. External payload options, sacrificing signature for heavier strike potential when stealth is less critical. But verification remains limited. Exact performance data, rarely public. Analysts compare manufacturer claims with observable deployments, testing footage, scattered battlefield reports. In modern air warfare, upgrades are not single events. They are continuous cycles, patches, hardware tweaks, mission software revisions evolving alongside threats. And as the upgraded Su-57 platform emerges from modernization, attention shifts to its reported operational role, not in theory, but in the contested airspace of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Reports emerge. Selective footage, controlled angles, limited confirmation, Su-57 flights described as operational, but often distant from direct frontline exposure. Russian sources claim combat missions, standoff strikes, long-range missile launches, coordination with other aircraft operating deeper in contested airspace. Analysts note the pattern: fifth-generation jets used carefully, rarely risked in dense air defense zones. Instead, high-altitude launches, network targeting, beyond visual range engagements. Ukraine's air defense environment remains layered: surface-to-air systems, mobile radar units, constant repositioning. Every sortie becomes a calculated risk equation. Some reports suggest Su-57 acting as sensor nodes, gathering electronic signatures, feeding targeting data, supporting other strike platforms, a role less visible but strategically valuable. Verification still fragmented. No continuous independent battlefield tracking, only open-source analysis, radar observations, occasional satellite glimpses, competing narratives. Because in modern air war, presence itself becomes messaging. Deployments signal technological confidence, industrial resilience, psychological pressure. And yet, the ultimate question remains unanswered. Does the Su-57 reshape the balance of the Russia-Ukraine air war? Or does it serve primarily as a strategic symbol? Powerful, advanced, but cautiously deployed? To close the picture, we step back from the runway, from the radar screens, and examine the broader strategic meaning behind these reported deployments. The Su-57 enters the conversation, not alone, but as a symbol of industrial endurance, technological ambition, and strategic signaling in a prolonged air war. Mass production claims create momentum. Upgrades reinforce narratives of adaptation under pressure. Deployment reports reshape perception, even when operational details remain tightly controlled. In modern conflict, perception equals power. A fifth-generation silhouette on a runway can influence planning rooms thousands of kilometers away. NATO analysts watch carefully. Air defense planners update threat libraries. Regional air forces reassess engagement models, radar tracking, electronic warfare responses. But technology alone does not decide air superiority. Pilot training cycles, maintenance capacity, mission planning, survivability against evolving air defenses. These remain the silent variables. For Ukraine, layered defenses continue to complicate high-risk deployments. For Russia, cautious use preserves high-value assets while projecting capability. So the Su-57 becomes both weapon and message, a signal to adversaries, a reassurance to domestic audiences, a statement to the global arms market. And beyond every claim, every upgrade, every factory rollout, the core reality remains unchanged. Air wars are not won by a single platform. They are shaped by networks, logistics, doctrine, and the constant adaptation of both sides under relentless pressure. This is not just a story about a jet. This is about industrial acceleration, strategic messaging, and the evolving reality of modern air warfare. The Su-57's reported expansion raises questions, not only about technology, but about how future conflicts will be fought, seen, and interpreted through controlled narratives. Because every deployment, every upgrade, every production surge is part of a larger chessboard, one that extends far beyond a single runway. Stay analytical, stay critical, and keep watching the front line, where technology meets reality and perception meets pressure. This is your TRX Frontline Update. See you in the next analysis.